this episode had a lot going on, as opposed to the last one that you didn't like.
I didn't like it, and it seemed like, because after we made our video, I went and I read some other people's thoughts on it, and it just generally seemed to be pretty divisive. Some people did like it, and a lot of people didn't. So I wasn't alone in my criticism of it, but this episode was great. I was happy, especially like last week I was just so disappointed, but this one was great. We had a lot happen in a short span of time. We got to see a lot of characters, and some that we haven't seen in a couple of episodes now, because even though I liked the Gemma episode, that was also almost a standalone thing. And so 2 of those in a row was a little bit much.
Yep, but I guess they had to go fill in the backstory for Gemma and for Cobel, so we got that out of the way. We know what's going on with them. So we're going to get right into the breakdown of this, but first, we're 2 lore geeks. We love going over breakdowns, theories, over our favorite shows and movies, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, stuff like that. So if that's something that interests you, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It'll go a long way to support us and continue doing these videos. But we'll get right into this episode, which I thought was the last episode for Severance, but it's actually not. It's the second to last episode. So next week will be the last one. This one's called After Hours. So it starts off with Helly taking a little swim in an Olympic pool. They're in Kier.
Or if it is, I suppose, like, they have never, to my knowledge, mentioned anything about where it's supposed to be. They did in this episode. They mentioned Svalbard, which is a real place.
And it's cool.
And it's cool, but I think they were talking about sending her there, not that being where they are.
So we get Helly is swimming for some reason, and then she meets her dad for Jamie. Jame. Which is an odd name. She meets him in their house or something.
Maybe. It wasn't on the property, but it was nearby. We know that. Breakfast? Wasn't that bizarre?
What an odd thing to have for breakfast.
Well, no, the odd thing was when she asked if he wanted to join her, and he said he would just watch, which is a weird way to say that you don't want to eat, because normally if somebody's like, oh, do you want to eat with me? You'll be like, oh, no, I'm not hungry,
I'll just watch.
So,
I'll watch you eat.
I'll just watch you eat. And then he made the comment that he wished she would eat her eggs raw.
It's a little gross.
So that's weird. But yeah, it was just he seemed like a really weird dude. And then we got like some confirmation later in the episode that he does some kind of shady things. You know, when Cobel was bringing in Mark's sister, I can't think of her name, and they were like, "Oh, it's one of his. Like, this is something they do." Devon. But yeah, like they were saying, "Oh, it's one of his, whatever." Like, "Oh, this is just something that happens," so that's weird.
All right, so after we got the whole Helly and her dad egg thing, really weird. This was another interesting moment. So Dylan's wife, Gretchen, she starts telling Dylan that she kissed his innie, and it went as well as you would expect.
Okay, and I have some things to say about this, because like I get him being upset, and I think that's completely valid, but at the same time, she was going to visit his innie, like which is something that he had agreed to. Like, what good could they have thought would come of this? It's just it's a very odd situation, obviously, because Dylan is the only one who's married or with anybody, so it's a really odd situation, and I get why he was mad, but at the same time, like, why did he agree to this in the first place? What did he think was going to happen? And then Gretchen says it reminds her of how he used to be, because Allie Dylan seems to be like kind of an asshole, which, obviously doesn't make cheating okay, but like I said, what did he think was going to happen? Maybe he thought that she was going to hate him as well, and is mad that, I don't know, it's a very complicated situation.
Very complicated how she was cheating on him with himself.
So. Which is different. I think it's different than the like Helena and Helly situation, because like that was super shady, because any Helly didn't know what was happening, whereas in this situation it's a little bit different because Audi Dillon did know that she was going to come see him. I think that particular day he didn't know, but he did agree to it, prior to that, to the visits. So it's complicated.
So we're Team Annie Dillon.
Well, I hope everybody's Team Annie Dillon, because Audi Dillon's like a real jerk.
Maybe he's going to turn his life around because of this.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So Gretchen tells Annie Dillon that she can't see him anymore.
And he proposed to her with some cardboard.
Some cardboard thing. Really odd. Of course, she said no. So he was heartbroken about that, so he decides to put in a request.
Can I just interject? Because Helly was talking to him about it, like saying that she shouldn't be treating him like that, but like it's also kind of like, because Helly doesn't know how he is on the outside. Like everything she did for her husband, Audi Dillon. So like you can't really fault her for that. But Helly was like, you should keep it and give it to someone here, which is weird. That's way weirder. Like Audi Dillon should be more mad about him, like in there cheating with someone, than his wife cheating on him with himself. Like that, I don't know. It was just a weird. I mean, he didn't want to do it. It was a weird suggestion, because going from proposing to your wife to some random person is a stretch. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Anyway. So we got Annie Dillon. So he goes to Milchick and asks for a resignation form. So he checks off literally all the boxes.
You want to say that again? Resignation.
Stop making fun of me.
So he checks off all the, checks off all the things.
He said check one box, and he checked one.
So he does that.
He's in a mood.
And so they go through that whole thing. Miss Wong says she's sorry for not facilitating him better.
In a rare moment of some sort of humanity from these people. And then the whole thing with Miss Wong, she's, I guess, being moved to Svalbard, and they made her smash her ring toss.
Yeah, that was really strange.
With the statue.
Very strange, this whole company. And then we catch up with Mark and Devon. They're in the car. Cobel called them last episode wanting to know everything. So they meet up kind of in the middle of nowhere, which is also cold. And then they start talking about Mark, if he finished Cold Harbor.
And Cobel said that if he had finished it, then Gemma was already dead, which is interesting, because I think that was just confirmation, because we had kind of surmised that from the Gemma episode. We had kind of figured that out from the Gemma episode, that they were done with her after Cold. We don't know why, we just know, and that was really confirmed with this. But we know, Mark doesn't know, they don't know, but we know that he was 96% finished. It was supposed to be finished on this day, but he happened to not go to work, which sounds like it's great for Gemma, because she is indeed still alive. We got to see her. She wasn't a big part of this episode. We did get to see her briefly, which was part of why this episode was so good, is we just saw so many people that we haven't seen in a couple of episodes. But I found really odd, that they met up with Cobel on the day, and then she was like, no, we can't do this until the cover of darkness. So they all just stood there in the cold.
What else are they supposed to do? Go all the way back to town?
Meet up until later? I don't know. Just be like, oh yeah, meet me here at 7.
It's already a 6-hour drive out there.
I don't know. It was weird, but then they want to go.
What if Cold Harbor? What if the stuff that they're refining are memories? What if they're wiping the memories that the enemies used to have, so that they can, have a vessel just to use for something? And that's why she's not, completely gone yet. She still has the, memories and stuff.
I would say that anything is possible. I have not been confused. I have not been as confused about what was going on since like early Westworld. So we don't know.
Yeah. Lots of theories.
Lots of theories. Lots of options. I'm really interested to see what is revealed in the season finale, and but I feel like we're not going to really find out much because
they're going to set up for season 3.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get some stuff answered.
But eventually it gets dark, and they go to the birthing retreat, which we went there. It was in season 1, right? Like you're
Devon
kind
was
of.
there. Devon was there, and then some other lady was there. Remember, because Devon was trying to make friends with her, and she was like really weird. So they go inside, and once Audi Mark passes through the door, he becomes Annie Mark, which was interesting. So that's kind of a
because they have we knew that because some of the women were being severed for
that's right,
birth.
the childbirth stuff.
Which I mean, in theory, you're like, okay, that makes sense, but also you kind of want to remember that. So that's a really weird thing. But anyway, they got in, and that's we have other stuff we didn't cover yet, but that's kind of where we end up is him walking up to Cobel, who's really creepily standing in front of the fire, and he's obviously confused because he's any Mark, but Devon said, "What's the last thing you said to me?" And he said, "She's alive," which is the last thing he said to her as
Annie Mark.
As Annie Mark. So that was like
because obviously Annie Mark doesn't have the same connection as Audi Mark does. Audi Mark knows the memories that his Annie has, but it doesn't work vice versa. Annie doesn't know the memories that the Audi has.
Yes.
So that's really interesting.
But we also need to go
back to
Irving and
Burt. So they go to like a train station, and for some reason Burt is sending Irving away, like far away,
wherever they may be.
So Burt sends him there. We get like a little moment with Burt and Irving. Irving was telling him that he like truly loved him, and he never felt what love was. So
that was sad, and he got to take his dog, which was great. I was so mad. I was watching that. I was so mad. I was like, if something happens to this dog, but it didn't. He went with him. His old dog went with him. So that's good. But we don't know what's going to happen to Burt because Burt mentioned.
This is Burt's send off.
Well, Burt mentioned that he never he does know more. His Audi does know more than what.
So he's trying to protect Irving.
Yeah.
From whatever.
But they had the conversation. He's like, I didn't hurt people. I just drove them. So we kind of thought for a minute, he's driving him taking him to the train station.
So what are you going to rate this episode?
I liked it. It was really good.
Yeah.
I don't know, like an 8.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, 7 or 8. It's pretty solid episode.
Pretty solid episode. We got to see a lot of people. A lot of things started to come together. Obviously, we're not going to know, we're not going to get these episodes where we know everything. The show is a mystery.
Solid episode. We've got one more episode left. That's next.
Oh, you know what? We forgot to mention something. It was Milchick's conversation with, I can't think of the guy's name.
With Drummond.
Drummond. Yeah.
So Milchick met up with Drummond, who's like on the board, kind of a really high up person, and Drummond was really angry with Milchick for letting Mark go.
Well, and Milchick has been kind of showing a few signs of
humanity
and of like not really being sure about all this, and so this was the first time he told him to. What did he say?
He said devour flatulence.
Not flatulence.
Flatulence.
No, it was fetulence.
Fetulence.
Not flatulence. I mean that would be insulting as well.
But yeah, that was kind of a moment for Milchick where he kind of stood up for himself, which was really cool to see.
Plus, it's a funny saying. We can go tell everyone to devour fetulence now. So I really hope that Milchick is like part of.
He's going to be part of the marketing.
Taking everything down, if that's the way that the show goes. I hope he's part of it, or figuring things out, or whatever. But I literally have no idea how this is going to go, and I don't think anybody does, and I don't think we're supposed to. But they're doing a really good job of keeping us guessing because it's not like there's a really clear way that this is going.
Yeah.
And we have the drama with Annie and Audi Dylan. But before we wrap this up, we should probably talk about something that is like that's a problem. Okay, we can all agree that that's a problem. But you know what's a bigger problem? The fact that Annie Mark like has this really big thing with Helly, who is Helena Egan on the outside and not a very good person, but any Helly is different. But then also Outie Mark has a wife who is alive, and Eddie Mark knows that now. So how is this? That's way more drama than Dylan's wife cheated on him with himself. Way more. Like, how is that going to go?
We'll have to see.
That's one of the big questions that I have, because you see the two of them, not in this episode because you didn't see them together, but you see the two of them getting closer and closer, and then we're learning more about Mark and Gemma and their relationship, and like Gemma's alive, and clearly Outie Mark really wants to get her back. So
we'll just have to find out. We got one more episode left next Friday, and we're going to be covering it, of course. If we missed anything, be sure to comment down below. We like to read your comments and your thoughts as well. So
totally possible that we missed something.
Probably did. So yeah, just call us out.
We'll have to rewatch this one. It was really good.
Just call us out if we did. But in the meantime, we'll see you on the next breakdown for Severance, the last episode, next Friday. If you enjoy us talking about this stuff, or if you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Help us out a lot. Go a lot towards supporting us on YouTube, so we would definitely appreciate it. But we'll see you on the next one, and thanks for watching.